closed tomorrow, aren't you?
Sorry?
Closed tomorrow, huh?
Yeah.
It is now 5 o'clock. We will begin the workshop for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, March 28, 2013. I would like to remind everybody that we are televising live. First on the agenda, for Tuesday night, Alderman Waldron, you will have the prayer, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be by Alderman Proper. Please review over the minutes. We do have 2 sets there, so please review over those. At this time, and these will be for the workshop only, we do have some presentations, so let's get right on into those. First will be Miss Dana Barrett with the United Way. Welcome. Please come to the podium.
Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to be here today. I have brought some information. I brought some 211 cards and some family-wise cards over there, and I have brought some brochures that I would like to pass out, and if there's not enough, there's some more over there. I want to talk to you briefly about a couple of things that your United Way in Rutherford and Caney counties is doing and what we're looking for. I want to explain the family-wise prescription cards. Are you guys familiar with these? This card has saved Rutherford County as a whole $400,000 in the year 2012. So if you know someone, have a loved one, or one thing that I'm doing, going out to the principals, to all the schools, and handing these out to the counselors and allowing them to send them home. Because I know I spoke at Laverne Lake, and just about 80% of his students are disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged. So we're going to send 1,000 of these cards over there so they can send them home, and that way no one will be discriminated against, so everyone would get it. So if you grab some of those, tell people about it. That's one of the things that my goal of being here today is to just educate you on some resources, and then as I conclude, I'm going to ask you to help me with something here in Laverne, okay? The next thing I want to talk to you about is 211. How many of you know about 211? Just a small handful. 211 is first call for help. So if a person is in need and it's not an emergency, let's say I'm hungry, I don't have a car, I don't know where to go, I can dial 211 and it will direct me to the nearest resource, not United Way partner agent, nearest resource, okay? If I am in a need legal assistance, I can call there. Let's say I only speak Spanish. It is a bilingual and confidential phone call, okay? This is something that your United Way in Rutherford County and Caney counties pays 100% for this service. It is a nationwide service, okay? In 2012, we had 11,000 phone calls. There's a lot of people that are being laid off. They're not used to being in need. They don't know where to go. A lot of people are still, you know, they call us and we don't know exactly what's around them. The best way for them to get information is to dial 211. This is another thing that I'm taking out to the schools and speaking at any venue that I can speak at to just pass along information. So 211, pass it out to your churches. The family-wise cards, pass them out to your churches or anywhere that you go, any groups, okay? So who knows what 211 stands for? Yes, I'm a past school teacher, so I like a little playing along. It's first call for help, okay? So, you know, if your police department needs a handful of those or a lot just to keep on hand, anybody that's dealing with the public, you know, if we want to put them out where people can get them, that way they'll know where to call. Okay, I want to go over a couple of other things with you. Who's familiar with our Atlas program? Atlas program is our children that have identified themselves as homeless. Okay, as of February the 11th in Rutherford County, there was 850. I've been doing a lot of research, and I have been very interested in Laverne, and there is a total of 109 Atlas students in Laverne. These are children that do not have a permanent residence. They could be living with an aunt, or they could be living with grandma, and then next day or next 2 days, they're living with somebody else. They just do not have a permanent place where they know where they're going to live, okay? Some other stats that I want to share with you, and then I will conclude with what your United Way is doing about this, and then how you guys can be involved. In Rock Springs Elementary, there is roughly about 940 students there. 334 of them are on, they are economically disadvantaged. This means they're on free or reduced lunches. Laverne Lake has, I spoke with him today. These results came out in August. But when this came out in August of 2012, they had 806 students. Now he said he's at 1,000 because they have a lot of transient students. But as of this number, in August of 2012, they had 602 that are on, they are economically disadvantaged. That means they are on free or reduced meals. Laverne Primary has 444 students. 363 of them are on free or reduced lunches, economically disadvantaged. We have in Laverne Middle, we have 974 students. 719 of them are economically disadvantaged. Laverne High School, which is, let me say, as far as the disadvantaged, economically disadvantaged children, is lower than the other high schools in Smyrna, or Murfreesboro. But they have a total of 2,061 students with economically disadvantaged of 1,140. And Roy Waldron, I always get tongue-tied with that one, 683 total students with 534 disadvantaged students. Okay, now I'm going to give you the total number, but I broke it down because I really want you to see what the percentage looks like in each one of these schools. This is right here in our county. Okay, the total number of students in August, now this has changed because we know that Laverne has a lot of transient students, so does Murfreesboro, so does Smyrna. That's just the way things are going with job changes and stuff like that. But it's right at 6,000 students. Economically challenged students, disadvantaged, is 3,698. That's 64% of our Laverne schools that are economically disadvantaged, okay? So keep that in mind, and the majority of those are on totally free. Now, how do you qualify for free or reduced lunches is you are living at the federal poverty level to qualify for that, okay? So if you're just a little bit over it, you don't qualify. Your United Way, just to give you a total, because I don't want to keep you here all day, which I would love to stand up here and talk to you all day, because I'm very passionate about our community and giving back and advancing it. But the schools, to me, is the root of the problems for solution. We can put Band-Aids on, different things. We can do food drives for the hungry. We can collect blankets for the homeless. We can do all these different things. But if our children are not getting those basic necessities that they need so they can learn, then we're causing it causes a bigger problem in the future for our society, for our community. In Laverne, a lot of times when we think about Laverne, we don't think about, as I was preparing today to speak to you guys, I was thinking, you know, when you think of Laverne, you don't think of, well, we don't have any nonprofit agents here that are partners of United Way, do we? When you think of that, you just don't think of that, and you think, well, why use United Way? You know, why even be involved? Well, in 2012, there was 8,591 people that live in Laverne that use services of United Way. That, to me, is a really large number. I think today that Kathy said there's about 30,000 population. So 1/3, right at 1/3, used a United Way. So you're thinking, okay, well, what are some of those services? If you'll look in your brochure, if you'll open it up, that tells you of all the services that are available. Hospice. Hospice is a United Way partner. Big Brother, Big Sister, 30 individuals were being mentored. Boy Scouts, almost 400. Boys and Girls Club, 528 students were using the Boys and Girls Club. You know, I'm hoping one day we'll have one here in Laverne, you know. CASA, 26. Well, what's CASA? CASA is for foster kids that do not have legal representation. It just keeps growing. We got child advocacy. That's your child abuse. Community helpers is funding. That affects the income. If you live in government houses and you cannot pay your electric bill, they kick you out. No matter if it's January and you got 10 babies in there, they're going to kick you out. Okay? So, Journey Home, Journey in the Community Living. There was 4. Journey in the Community Living is a place for individuals that are intellectually challenged, that they go and they learn a skill, and you'll see them out in the McDonald's working. There's 18 homes throughout the county where these individuals can live. You know, I think about if I had a child and they were intellectually challenged, you think mom and dad are going to live forever. That would be the dream. But mom and dad don't live forever, and that intellectually challenged child grows up to be an adult. Who's going to take care of them? Who's going to make sure they take their medicine? Who's going to make sure they're not wandering the streets? Well, Journey in the Community does that. They have a house sitter. And last time I went through a tour there, they said there's like 5,000 on a waiting list in the state of Tennessee to get in a facility like that. They don't institute them anymore. They teach them skills. They teach them real-life skills. The last thing I want to talk to you about is Bruce told me I could talk as long as I wanted, but I told him I would try to be short. The last thing I want to talk to you about is, this is my ask today. Laverne, to me, needs a champion. Laverne, to me, needs a champion that's from Laverne, that bleeds Laverne, that talks Laverne. Laverne, to me, needs that community leader that knows everything that's going on with United Way, that knows everything that's going on with its community, knows everything that's going on within all the nonprofits in Laverne, in all the schools, everything that's going on with any community event. So we have a loan executive program. We're looking for that volunteer during the fall that would be that champion. I'm looking for that person that once a week would have a couple of hours to spend. They're not going to drive to Murfreesboro to do their volunteering. They're going to volunteer here in Laverne. I'm looking for that person, or I'm looking for that committee so we can focus on Laverne. Okay? I'm looking for partner agencies as far as, you know, did you know in the fall is when you can apply for grants? Do the nonprofits here know that? Do they know that they can apply for grants? And there's a deadline that has to be in. I'm looking for that champion from Laverne, and that's what, I have my cards over there. I have more information over there. Email me, talk to Kathy. Kathy can get a hold to me because she loves me because we're like BFFs, and we went to lunch today together, and I laughed. So, oh yeah, Vaughn, we went to lunch today. So, you know, you're going to see me around here. I'm not going anywhere, so I'm going to be here. So if you don't volunteer, I'm sure Kathy or Vaughn or myself will hunt you down and make sure you volunteer. Thank you, and do you have any questions? Or if you have any questions, you can email me and I can answer those. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Anyone up here have anything y'all want to add or ask?
No, but I'm surprised at the numbers.
I'm not.
I am.
What did she say? I'm sorry.
She was surprised at the numbers.
You know, I was devastated. When I started digging in and doing research, then it just, I just become more interested. And so I'm not only doing it with Laverne, I'm doing it with the whole county. And my goal was to meet with every principal in the county. And each school is so, this can make me cry. I hate this is on TV, but each school is so different that when I go to them and I go speak to the principal and they are humbly telling me that, Dana, the only thing that I need is socks and underwear. My children need socks and underwear so they can think the rest of the day. Or my children need hygiene items, the students. The students need hygiene items because they're homeless. So when they come in here or they're sold or whatever, that they can go take a shower and be fresh. We just need those little, you know, travel size hygiene items. Or the principal looks at me and says, just pray. Will you just pray for my students? Pray for my teachers every day that come in here that give so much. You know, and then, the list could go on, and it's totally broken my heart. And then one principal asked me, says, we just need 10 male individuals to come eat lunch for our 4th and 5th graders just to be a role model. I don't want them to preach to them. I don't want them to teach them nothing, but just how that there's hope. Hey, I'm proud of you. You worked hard. Keep up the good work. And just have a normal conversation and just genuinely care about them. So the stories that I have truly broken my heart. You guys have a great police department. Kudos to you. I know you're already doing it at Laverne Lake, because he said, we got guys that come out here from the police department to do that. And I admire you so much for doing that. So it takes time out of your day to do that, when you go to look at the big picture. So, but yes, it has broken my heart. The numbers are just devastating to me. It's a lot higher than what I thought. And, as I went home and, as I said, I used to teach school, so amongst a lot of other things. But I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, worked at UPS as a UPS package car driver, and then I had children, and I decided, okay, well, I'm going to be mom, I'm just going to stay at home and be mom, and I'm going to go back to teaching because that's what I got my degree in. Yes, I've done everything. And so, so I'm doing that, and, you think about all these things, and so I go home today and I see my daughter, and she brings home her spelling test. And I'm one of those, hey, we're doing homework, we're on it, 8 o'clock at night, I'm still doing homework, we're getting everything done. And she brought home her spelling test to me today, and she'd missed every single one of them, except for one. And I'm thinking, how on earth could you do that? We really I missed something here somewhere. How on earth can you miss all of them? But I'm thinking, I'm really not that concerned about it because I know that I'm going to be there with her. I'm going to teach her what she needs to learn, what she's missing, or maybe she's missed. But what about those kids that don't have that do not have that person that's saying, okay, Walker, let's go. Chalk it up today as a loss and let's move on, But just getting back to our kids and health, and I love what I saw over there with the drugs and that kind of stuff. There's a lot to be done, and your United Way just wants to partner with you and see how we can plug in and we can all work together.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you
we very
so
much appreciate you. All right, next, Mr. Rob Mitchell, our property assessor for Rutherford County, and we're going to let you try to follow her. Now, you got to be that upbeat, okay?
I didn't know how many copies to make right here. Apparently, I made too few, so share this with you.
Yeah, you can give them to them because we got one the other day.
I'll explain it to you. They always say it's bad to give out your handouts before you're talking with people and read ahead. Thank you. A couple more here in case anybody
Okay,
needs
yeah, I'd
some.
like to. Bruce, did you get one?
I'm good.
Okay. Here's the next one, Evan, if you'd like. Would you like one?
Just introduce myself. Thank you very much for having me down here. I am Rob Mitchell. I'm the property assessor for Rutherford County. And I come bringing the truth. I don't want to say come bringing bad news. I know that you're working on your budget right now, and you're going to have to make some tough decisions over where to spend your money, how to allocate funds. And the first thing I want to preface is the group that you have up here has done a marvelous job with working with the finances, working with the budget, and any decision that they make, I think that you can feel confident that they're working in your best interest. When they set their budget, of course, you know this, but for anybody that might be watching on TV, they rely on the information that comes from the property assessor's office on the tax rolls to base what property taxes, how they're going to be allocated, how much do you expect to come in. If they get bad numbers, then the best they can do is have less than good results, because you spend what you expect to receive. What you are left, and the way the taxes work for, if somebody does not agree with their tax assessment, they have an opportunity to appeal, to come before the Board of Equalization and present their case as to why they think their numbers are wrong. It's a little more difficult for homeowners to do that than it is large corporations, because they have representatives that will do that for a fee, and they have attorneys that they can hire. And generally, you don't want to pick a fight with somebody that can defend themselves a lot better than you. Don't pick a fight with somebody bigger than you. In a lot of these cases, we were left to defend numbers that weren't justifiable. So we've moved to try to settle these and get them off the table before they drag on. The reason that you do that is because if you have a 2010 reappraisal and somebody disputes it, if you just carry it through the normal course of going to the Board of Equalization and then appealing to the administrative judge, if you don't get your way at the Board of Equalization satisfaction, that could take up to a year. The problem is that once you've appealed 2010, you have the 2011 numbers that come out. You're into that tax year. So you have an uncorrected tax roll staying the same, going back out there again, and your representatives are left to try to set a budget with numbers that are still incorrect because they weren't corrected the first year. Well, the same individuals that appealed in 2010, of course, are going to appeal again in 2011 because nothing has changed. You go through the same procedure again, and then you have a compounding, because then in 2012, you still haven't settled 2010's numbers yet because they're still going through the appeals process. Then you have 2011 that's also coming up in 2012 that is wrong. And then you have a 2012 tax roll coming out that is still uncorrected. And using the best efforts they can, they believe that the numbers that they're being given are accurate. They set your budgets. The problem being is that eventually you have to settle up. Somebody has to make the decision that we're going to settle these cases, we're going to get them off the board, we have to move ahead. And that's what we've been doing for the last 6-7 months. We've gotten 2010 finally settled, and I think you all have dealt with those numbers coming back with the refunds that had to be sent out. We're now settling 2011s, and that's the numbers that I'm coming to bring you right now. I broke down some numbers here for you to look at. The top set of numbers, you'll see IDO, that means Initial Decision Order. And then you have OC, which stands for Official Certificate. An IDO is once we've reached an agreement with an administrative judge, or we've negotiated a settlement. Once it goes to an administrative judge, they will direct the assessor's office, all right, you guys talk. Try to work this out before we actually have to go to a hearing. So it's either, with an IDO, we've either gone before the judge or we've negotiated a settlement. An official certificate is once the agreement has been made and it becomes official. After the official certificate has been issued, that's when legally we're allowed to correct the tax rolls and make any refunds that have to be refunded. So the top number, these are numbers that when you're planning your budget, we have initial decision orders on, and we have an official certificate that is not yet delivered. So we know that these are settled. This is the amount that you're going to have to refund back. And that amount is $10,525, which isn't too bad. The bad part is when it comes to the ones that we're still negotiating with. Those are the ones that we're here with a number, they're there with a number, and we're still trying to work it to something that's meaningful before we have to just dig in our heels and say, we're going to take it to the judge. The risk in doing that, and why we don't want to do it, is because that'll perpetuate this and drag it on for another tax year into another tax cycle. But by sharing this information with you, if that does happen, we hope that you can be proactive with it and simply know that with a worst-case scenario, if we lost everything, that's the amount that you would have to come back. So you could account for that in your budget and not be placed in a situation where you're going to have to come up with it after you've already spent it. You can just sequester it, put it aside, and know that we can't spend this because this is going to be an obligation we're going to have to pay. So that amount for Laverne is $148,406. So your total is right around $158,000, just round it to $160,000 is what you'll have to pay back for tax year 2011, most likely 2012, and for 2013, just figure it's going to be similar to that, so just don't even account for that as being in the mix. And I also on the second page, I went ahead and ran one of the things. If you give somebody bad news, you want to kind of give them something else there too. As of today, 3/27, we ran the appraised value and the assessed value numbers for you, and the assessed value of the property in the city of Laverne is coming in at, and this is including residential, it's including farm, it's including greenbelt properties, it's including industrial, and it's including personal property from businesses. $776,971,510 as of today. And from that, since this is 2013, you subtract the $160,000 from it. And as of today, that would be a good working number for you to assume that from the property tax roll, you'll have at your disposal to work on.
And I'm going to just give a brief instance. We don't have anything up on what he's talking about in the past when he says appeals. What they're actually doing is they're not appealing Mr. Mitchell. This was done by the previous assessor, Bill Boner, who actually assessed these properties improperly. So what we're having to do, what he's having to do is go in, clean up, get these properties to the value that they actually are. And that's what these numbers are. If we'd have thought about it, we could have put these up on the slides for you to see. And that's what we're talking about. When you talk about the appeal resolution value reduction that we've already got, that they're saying is actually been, it's off the books, we're waiting for the certificate to come in, was roughly $3,729,400, okay? That was actually oversessed to property values. Now, that is what they are saying, the value of that property. Also remember, you're only paid taxes on the assessed part of that property. So that's where all these adjustments are coming in. And again, he's having to go in, reconstruct, bring it to the real numbers. We based ours on the numbers presented to us from Mr. Boner. Those taxes were paid. These will be going back to the taxpayers. So I just want to make that, because they don't have this in front of them to see. So we want to make that very, very clear. We based our numbers on what Mr. Boner gave us. They were inaccurate. So now he's having to clean up books. We have to follow our books behind him. They do. Ms. Evie cannot go in and arbitrarily change anything. That has to come from the state. So don't come up here and start jumping Miss Evie. There's nothing she can do. They handled all the appeals processes.
And if there is a disagreement, the county board meets every year, and they meet in June to handle the assessments for that current year, the taxes for that 1 year. And they're only allowed to discuss the taxes for that 1 year. So if the best time to do it is if, as a reappraisal year, the assessor has the broadest ability to make corrections on the year of the reappraisal. The next one's coming up in 2014, and that's what we're really focusing on, to make sure that there are honest, accurate numbers out there. Not trying to inflate anything, not trying to deflate anything. All we're supposed to do is look at your property and say, in this market, in this area, this is how much that particular piece of property is worth. And that's all we're supposed to do. That's all we're charged with. We don't collect the taxes, we don't set the tax rates, we just value the property. If we do our job right, it makes everybody else's job a lot easier. But if you do have a disagreement, call our office. The Board of Equalization meets first, second week of June. I would call toward the end of April. You're welcome to come by, and if it's a residential property, speak with Marty Francis, a residential supervisor, or myself. I usually sit in on most of those. If it's commercial or industrial property, that'd be Mr. Russell Key, and I sit in on a lot of his as well, so that I know what's going on with the taxpayers out there. I like to keep my fingers on stuff, not to control anything, just so I know what's going on. What we'll try to do is work with you on the values and assist you as far as the law will let us. You have to present your own case. We can't make it for you. We'll assist you in how to approach the county board so that when you do come, you can have it taken care of quickly and easily, and hopefully everything will be resolved. I would like to let everybody know we do have a vacancy on the Board of Equalization. Mr. Laughlin Urey, a longtime member, passed away last month. If there's anyone interested from the north end of the county that would like to serve on that board, then you need to get an application in fairly quickly, because I believe what is going to happen is at the first steering committee meeting, they're going to read the applicants' names that have come in and then present it to the full county commission for a vote. You can contact your local county commissioner. I think up here it's Mr. Doug Schaefer, who happens to work in our office, so I know where he is most of the time. And we can get an application over to you. I can email you an application if you have an interest in it.
Awesome. That'd be great.
If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or you can call me at my office anytime. And thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions up here?
Guys, don't have any questions? Thank you so much
Oh, you're
for
quite
taking
welcome.
your time out to come up here and explain it to the board.
It's my
and-
pleasure. Anytime that you all need me for anything, I'm just a phone call away. I work for you, so just let me know what I can do to help.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Okay. Have y'all digested that? We'll move on. All right, first up, we're going to work on our consent agenda items. Get it going. One is approved recommendations for city bids and purchases. Bid, sewer system investigation, East Hurricane Creek Drainage Basin. Mr. Jerry, you want to?
Yeah, this is the first phase of investigation on the East Hurricane Creek. In this year's budget, we had budgeted $100,000 for this. It is in the budget. The money is available. We are going into the second phase of this now. We took bids on last Monday. Is it up there? Huh?
Is that find it?
Hydromax.
CTI has reviewed them and has recommended that we award the bid to the low bidder. Everything's in order.
And that's Hydromax.
Hydromax.
Any questions? This is one of our sewer projects that we've had on our books. Next, if y'all don't have any questions, now stop me. Next, we have a bid for a generator, preventative maintenance and repairs. Ricky, I think you had that one.
We are we're asking that we go with Thompson Power, who currently has our PM maintenance. The other companies, as you can see, the integrated power systems there was substantially higher. The two lower there, one of those companies is a nationwide company, but their closest service people are in Knoxville, so it's outside of our time frame that we need, because some of these are, well, all of these generators are backups for water, sewer, and emergency communications, so we can't really afford to wait 4 hours for a response for service techs. In fact, we had one over the weekend that we had to call out for. And the third there, it fell right in the range with Thompson Power, and as I said, they're in town. They currently hold our PM maintenance, and they've done a good job for us, so we're asking that we just stick with that.
Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Next is B, approve the submittal of Form CT-0253, report on debt obligation for the lease purchase agreement with Ford Motor Credit. Phyllis, you got that one?
Mayor, this is the standard form that's required anytime we enter into any kind of lease agreement. We got an extension to get this done this month. We have like 45 days after we enter into a lease contract. We missed the deadline and we asked for extension. They gave us an extension, and this is just formality.
Any questions? All right. Next is approve audit contract to audit accounts with Uri Howe and Associates for fiscal year 2012 and 2013.
Our audit contract with Uri and Howell. It's the same rate that it's been for the last 2 or 3 years. No changes at all here for fiscal year 12-13. They'll start probably in June, and then for preliminary work, and then they'll come back in August and September. Finalize the field work, and then they'll prepare our annual financial report later in the year.
Any questions? We're very familiar with them. Thanks, Phyllis. All right, approve change order number 1. This is our final for the Chaney Boulevard Sidewalk project. And generally, Mr. Kyle Brown does answer these for us. Unfortunately, Kyle lost his grandmother yesterday afternoon. So if y'all will please remember the Brown family in your prayers. That's why Kyle is not with us tonight. Bruce, do you have this one?
Yeah, I can speak a little bit on this one. This should be the final change order for this project since it has been completed. I think it mostly deals with the changing of quantities for what was used during the project. It actually lowers the contract amount by $25,840.50. So that lowers the total project cost down to $443,000. They have already signed. The engineering firm has already signed off on it. The contractor's already signed off on it. So we should be good to go.
We like it. Any questions? Okay. Next is approved change order number 1 for the Interstate Pump Station project. Who's going to put Bruce or
Neil Hall is here. He could probably
wanna-
speak to this better than I
want to take
could.
that one?
Good evening. The contractor, W&O Construction Company, working on the interstate pump station replacement, suffered a theft of equipment or theft of materials on site a couple of weeks ago, and they are not sure if that's going to affect their completion time or not. Kyle had indicated he thought it would be better, since the contract time expires prior to the next board meeting, if we went ahead and gave them a change order for 3 additional weeks in case they need it. The change order changes the time only, no money in this change order. It's for 3 additional weeks of time. Changes the completion date from April 22nd to May 13th.
Filed, and I do believe there was some equipment that came up missing. So this was of no fault of theirs. Any questions? Matter of fact, they had Kyle had come in and told us about it. So, any questions on that one? Any? That was easy.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're through with our consent agenda items. Next, we'll go on to new business, which is to appoint or remove board members. We still have a vacancy for the Laverne Housing Authority. We have a vacancy there, and I don't think we have any applications at this time for that one. We also have a vacancy on the Historical Preservation Advisory Committee. At this time, we still do not have any applications for that one either. And next, everybody wants to be on the senior citizens. That's the happening group. We do have one vacancy, and we do have a husband and wife who have both applied. So, I don't know, Ms. Donna, do we get them to flip a coin, or?
I think either one would serve very well, and I think either one would be happy if either one got on.
You get two for the price of one, kind of like us.
Absolutely. They're very, very active members. Both
Yes.
are very energetic, and either one would add to, and the other one would volunteer.
All right. That's awesome. All right. Number 6. Motion to approve an agreement with CTI Engineers, Inc. for engineering services in connection with a sewer system evaluation survey and corrective action plan for the Hollandale drainage basin. Bill, you and Jerry gonna tag team us on this one?
This is actually the one that Jerry referred to as the first phase earlier. The plan in Laverne for rehabilitation of your sewer system has been to address one drainage basin after another drainage basin after another drainage basin. The bids that we accepted this week were for East Hurricane Creek drainage basin, which we are well into that process of doing the SSES and the corrective action plan. This agreement that's before you tonight is for the Hollandale drainage basin. It would be the next highest priority drainage basin in our opinion. East Hurricane Creek was first, Hollandale second, Fergus third. Those are the order we had anticipated doing those. This agreement is very similar to the East Hurricane Creek agreement, with the only exception being for the amount. Hollandale Drainage Basin is larger. Mr. Cope has reviewed this agreement, and he has a comment that he has made about the limitation of liability clause in our standard general conditions. I believe we can resolve that issue prior to the board meeting on Tuesday night.
Evan, have you seen it? Okay, so y'all are working on this and can come back with something for our viewing on Tuesday. Yes, ma'am. Okay. And again, this is part of this year's. All right.
Oh, and if I could, I'll tell you that your budgeted expenditure on this agreement will be lower in this fiscal year because it's the wrong time of year to begin flow monitoring. So the flow monitoring actually wouldn't be procured until the next fiscal year. So very little of this work would be accomplished in this fiscal year.
Any questions? Questions? Okay. Yep, next one. Number 7, motion to approve an agreement with CTI Engineers, Inc. for engineering services in connection with updating the sewer system master plan.
14 years ago, CTI performed a sewer system master plan for Laverne. This agreement is for an update to that master plan. The first master plan that we did was done under a lump sum fee. This master plan update is proposed to be done under a cost plus basis so that you only pay for the time that it actually takes to perform the services. Oddly enough, Mr. Cope had the same comment about the same paragraph in the same section of this contract. And I believe by Tuesday night we will have that resolved.
All right.
Again, budgeted money in this year's budget, update our master plan, so we know where we're going in the future with our sewer system.
You know where some of them are. Okay. Any questions? I think you're done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Number 8, motion to approve an agreement with Old Hickory Aviation, Inc. to provide tethered hot air balloon rides at the Old Timers Festival. Okay, next question. Evan, have you seen this one?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, I have, Mayor. I've made some handwritten comments. The version you have in your package is basically the one that I've wrote on, so.
Okay.
My comments are on here. Kathy, I don't know if you spoke.
Kathy, you want to give us a little briefing on that?
Sure. I did get the contract to them. I have not heard back from them. Hopefully we'll hear back by Tuesday, but just to give you some background, we have talked about moving the entertainment tent up closer to the front to give more accessibility to senior citizens and other people who would have a hard time getting to the back. But we also wanted to pull people to the back of the park for the food vendors and other sponsors. We had contracted, as you guys know, you approved the animal circus that will be back there, but we thought also hot air balloon rides would also attract a lot of people to go back to the back of the park. We will probably be charging a fee for the rides. We haven't worked those details out yet, but this gets the people here with the hot air balloons. They won't set up probably till 4 o'clock, maybe 4:30 in the afternoon. They can go up into after dark. They cannot set up during the daylight because I think the winds during the daytime hours are too strong, which is why if you go on hot air balloon rides, it's usually in the morning or in the evening. But it should be a lot of fun. I don't know if we've ever had it before. It's on my bucket list.
Not mine.
He does have 28 years of pilot experience, this company.
We'll send her and cheer you on.
Okay, you take my picture.
She'll go with you. Daredevil. Any questions? Okay. Number 9, motion to approve agreement with Loudoun Water District for the purchase of AMR meters.
Mayor, you'll note in board, you'll have in your package a copy of the agreement that's, and I don't know, TJ, if you want to scroll down maybe to the second page. We've got a lot of lines through the contract. We have sent that back to Loudoun and Bruce. I don't know if we've heard anything back from them or not.
Well, actually, we got a phone call from Pat Casey, who was with their department, and Jerry could probably speak to this a little better. He actually talked to him on the phone. We had explained our concerns about the contract with them and how various paragraphs kind of did away with any other warranties and things like that. And Mr. Casey called Jerry earlier this week.
Yes.
And basically has offered to give us a 30-day guarantee, which is fine and good. I'd love to have that. But they still have to work on the wording of that contract because of the way that contract is written. So I'm hoping that we can work some of that out between now and Tuesday, because the way that it's written now, it just kind of takes away any other warranty, so it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Awesome. So we'll leave you guys to handle that. All right. Number 10, this is discussion items from here down. First being the Hazard Mitigation Grant Phase 2 for 173 Taylor Drive. And Mr. Perkins, I'll turn this over to you.
Basically, I just want to give you guys an update on the 173 Taylor Drive property.
You don't come up here where they can hear you.
All right. Basically, the 172 Taylor Drive was the last property on our schedule with a benefit cost analysis number of 1 or greater. And basically, the residents at this property declined the offer. So now we're taking it back to the TEMA program and letting them know basically what do we do next before we forfeit the program. And we had some properties that were a little bit close to 1, I think 0.9. So basically we're just going to see if they're let us what our options as far as moving on with the property that came close to 1. And if not, basically we're just going to have to forfeit the program for phase 2.
Okay. So now when they decline that, do they have something to sign that says that they've declined this offer?
No, basically, I mean, they can do it via telephone, via
Okay.
email, via text, and this one happened just to be via telephone, and I've documented that they've declined the offer, so,
Okay.
and we submit that offer, I mean, that decline to TEMA and
Awesome.
see where it goes from there.
Okay. Any
And
questions?
and if we have to forfeit that program, it'll have to come back before this board because the board approved the application for this grant. So
Yes.
you will see it again one way or the other if there's another property that it gets moved to, or if we have to bow out of the program because we don't have any eligible properties.
Yeah, I think they were the last at that number.
Yeah, they were the dead last that
That's the
directly
cor-
at 1, so.
That's the corner of Taylor and Apple, right there, right beside the creek. So, all right. Any questions on that? Thank you. Number 12, discussion.
11.
This is,
11. You skipped, didn't you?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get around Phyllis, I know. Number 11, online bill pay for water and sewer bills. This is awesome, we hope.
Mayor and Aldermen, citizens, we've had lots of requests from customers of the utility billing department for some type of online bill pay system where they can actually go to our website and possibly click on a link that will take them to an informational portal that will show them either a copy of their bill or at least the amount of their bill and allow them to pay their bill via e-check or credit card. We have reached out to our current third-party billing provider, which is Arista, that does our printing, and they do offer an online web-based portal that allows these options. The customer will be able to pay with a credit card or with an e-check. The credit card fees currently are like $4 for a credit card. Their fee is $2.45 for the first for each $100 of payment. If you make a $200 payment on your bill, obviously you're going to pay twice that amount. If you use the e-check service through them, it's only $1. They also have a couple of other options that we are exploring where maybe at some point down the road the city may entertain absorbing the cost, and the cost is 60 cents per bill, and there's some things that we can do to offset that cost, such as if we require citizens to go paperless, that would save us 35 to 36 cents per customer. And, if you take that 60 cents minus the 35 cents, it only leaves about 25 cents that the city would absorb. But even if we don't absorb the cost, the most the customer would have to pay would be $1 convenience fee. There is a cost to the city to set this program up and a kind of a monthly maintenance. It is $50 a month plus a penny per PDF. We've calculated it, and that's about $170 a month to offer them an online bill paying service. I think that's a pretty reasonable amount. We are
have asked them for some options to where we can pick and choose if we have customers that don't want that want to use the e-check but they still want to get a paper bill. We're asking them to update their system so that we can allow that particular customer to have the dollar convenience fee, whereas maybe we have a customer that wants to go paperless and the city would absorb that 25 cents. So we've asked them, could we do either one, either the city absorb the cost or the customer absorb the cost. And as of right now, it's either one way or the other. Either the city pays for it or the customer pays for it. So we've asked them to look into some options there, and they're going to get back with us and let us know if they can incorporate that into our contract at this time or whether it'll have to be at a later date. I have a lengthy contract. I have not shared that with Evan yet because we're thinking that we may be getting a revised contract, but if this is something the city would like for us to keep pursuing and working out the details, we would like to be able to offer that to our customers. And the maximum at this point that we would be paying would be the $170 a month.
We've certainly had a great deal of requests for that.
They'll be able to have a PDF link to their to actually visually see their bill. They'll be able to see the amount that's due. Whereas now, when a customer goes to our Loudoun homepage, they can pay their bill online now, but they cannot see the amount that their bill is due. They have to input a lot of information, and the information is real field sensitive. It has to be so many characters a dash, and there's so many more characters. And if you don't, if you don't know exactly how to input it, it just won't accept it. So with this option, it'll be just like any other bill pay service. You go in, you set up your profile one time, put in your banking information, and then from then on, every month you just go in, click on it, and within 10 seconds you've paid your bill.
Obviously, this one will not be ready for Tuesday night. No. But I would like for us to continue to pursue this, because I have had a ton of requests for this.
Well, Allison is actually the one that, approached Arista and had them to come in for a meeting. And I think she may be in the hallway with her baby. But she is the one that has pursued this, and there she's waving. She's wanting to get this going, and she's real excited about it.
Sounds good.
And I also want to mention that she has made some changes to the billing, the actual invoice that you see pretty soon. I'm not sure exactly when, in probably the next few weeks. When you flip your bill over, there's going to be a lot of information on the back of it in regards to when your bill is due and what's due and what your cutoff dates are or approximate cutoff dates, and a lot of information on the back that hasn't been provided before. Maybe some of our policies and procedures. So be looking for that for a change on the invoice.
I like that. Any questions? Questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next, number 12, discussion of televising the regular mayor and alderman meetings live. As you all know, we've grown accustomed to doing the workshop live. And then everybody said, well, of course, they can see what we're talking about, what we're going to be voting on, which gives them a little better idea of what we're talking about when we do our votes. Well, we've had several people say, why don't you do the regular meeting live? Because you're voting on what we already have learned about at the workshop. It's no different than what we're seeing right now. You're not going to notice any difference whatsoever, except the night of the meeting, it will be live. That's it. And it will be pre-recorded like this to continue to run as well, for those that didn't get to see it live. I think it's just one more step in the right direction of us getting the information out to people more effectively and quickly. Like I said, we're not going to know any different than what's happening right now. So I would like, if this board is okay, I would like to go on and put that on for Tuesday night, just to vote to do our meetings live. And too, when we have the special events that come up, when children or awards and all of that, I think that's nice for people to be able that maybe can't get here on time but can get home in time to turn the TV on to to see it going on. I think it's just another little courtesy I think that we can do for the citizens, that it's not going to cost anything, and it's easy to do. So y'all will probably have that on there for Tuesday night. Next is discussion for budget workshops on April the 11th, 16th, and 25th, the 2013, beginning at 1 p.m. Bruce, I think that's
That pretty much says it all. We'll just wanted to let everybody know when those dates will be. And if anybody wants to attend, they're welcome to do so.
They are open to the public. And we haven't discussed this, Kathy, with you and Jerry, but we usually televise those. So.
I don't know if they're live.
No.
We don't do those live.
They're recorded. Recorded will be fine. Okey-doke. And number 14, discussion, use agreement 2013 baseball and softball league. The only thing I can do at this point is turn this over to Bruce and Evan, because it's in their hands now. So.
Right. Yeah. We've been working with the organization that we're looking to operate the league for this spring and fall. We don't have anything finalized yet. We're still in negotiations with them. Evan has talked to their attorney as well, and so we're actively trying to get this completed. Don't know that it will be ready by Tuesday night, so we may have to call a special meeting in order to get that agreement approved. Their board is going to have to meet on it as well and approve it on their end. So we're just kind of going back and forth and trying to get all the terms ready, and we'll bring it back hopefully at a special meeting if it's not ready by Tuesday night. And right now we don't know. So, but with tomorrow being a holiday, I don't think we'll be ready by Tuesday.
Okay. Not the news we wanted, but we'll take it. It is a negotiation, so. Okay, any questions there? Any whatsoever? Oh, okay. Well, guys, we're down to the mayor and alderman comments. Let's see, we'll start at this other end. Alderman Broker.
I'm good, Mayor.
Okay. Alderman Waldron.
Nothing.
Vice Mayor.
Nothing.
Wow.
We don't.
Come on,
We don't
liven the
have
group up.
I cannot be here on April the 11th.
Okay. We get to have a party.
I'll be 30. Mm-hmm.
We'll have to get you.
Mm-hmm. I got a date, everybody.
All right. Awesome. I hope everybody has a safe weekend. Easter weekend. Easter
bunny.
That's right. I think the city will be closed tomorrow in observance of Good Friday. And again, please remember Kyle Brown and his family. It's a hard time at Easter having to go through this, and so please remember them. And I hope everybody has a great weekend, safe holiday, and we'll see y'all back Tuesday night. Call this meeting adjourned.